one dad, one creed, and one moment that left the entire Sister Wives fandom completely shocked. Picture this. A young man sits nervously across from Kody Brown, hands sweating, heart racing. In the other room, Kody leans forward with that familiar smirk, his voice even but razor sharp. Your role is to keep my daughter safe, even from yourself. Silence. The entire atmosphere shifts. While dating my daughter, you're kissing another man's wife until she's your wife. Kody continues, his voice dripping with gravitas. If she doesn't end up being your wife, you've stolen something that was never yours. And with that, the internet absolutely erupted. Because Kody Brown, the very same man who justified his own romantic entanglements, has now declared himself a guardian of virtue and his dating doctrine is officially under fire. This isn't just a story about rules, it's a story of control, contradiction, and the price of purity culture in a family that's been falling apart right before our eyes. So let's get into what actually happened, because this week's episode of Sister Wives Season 20 might just be the most shocking one yet. Remember Season 6? That infamous purity speech that had viewers cringing and furious all at once. Robyn sat there, her voice quivering, as she talked about a girl who gave away her purity to someone who begged for it, only to have it thrown away. She declared she spent her entire life trying to get it back. But you only get one. That speech went down in Sister Wives history. It was awkward, emotional, and left everyone wondering what was really being said here. Now, fast forward to Season 20, and suddenly, we are right back in that same conversation. Only this time, it's not Robyn's story. It's Kody's doctrine. His rules, his morals, his version of purity, delivered to a new generation. And that's where the internet collectively lost its mind. Because when the same guy who rationalized having multiple wives suddenly starts preaching chastity and protecting my daughter from you, fans knew exactly what it was. Hypocrisy disguised as a sermon. Social media went wild. Tweets flooded in, calling him the king of double standards. Reddit forums exploded, dissecting every single line. Even longtime fans who had defended him for years were saying, wait a second, what is this? This moment, this dating doctrine, wasn't just random. It's built on years of hypocrisy, years of doing one thing, saying another, and finding a way to make it all sound spiritual. And if you've been following from the beginning, you know every time Kody tries to sound wise, it ends in disaster. But this time, the disaster feels different. Because this isn't about polygamy, jealousy, or moving houses. This is about ideology. It's about control, masquerading as love, and the fans. They're not buying it anymore. Tonight's show wastes no time, plunging straight into the tension. Aurora Brown, lovely, anxious, and finally old enough to start dating, takes center stage. She's smiling, fidgeting, maybe even a little hopeful. And just when the moment feels normal, in comes Kody with a one-man lecture on morality. He starts talking about purity, boundaries, and the sacred duty of men. You can almost feel Robyn nodding in approval off camera, but here's the catch. The audience has heard this all before. This isn't guidance, it's control dressed up as wisdom. Kody's voice rings out. Your responsibility is to guard my daughter. Even from yourself. Fans everywhere paused, rewound, and said, did he actually just say that? This isn't a father's advice. This is Kody sermonizing about ownership. Ownership of emotions, of choices, of another person's body. Something that doesn't quite fly in 2025. But what really struck a nerve wasn't just what he said, it's who was saying it. This is the same man who justified crossing boundaries with Robyn before they were even married. The same man who blurred every line he now claims to protect. The same man who told his wives God wants this whenever it was convenient for him. And let's be honest, we've all known someone like this, right? Someone who only uses morals when it gives them power. That's why this scene hits so hard. It's not just Kody talking to his daughter, it's every controlling parent. Every manipulative partner. Every person who hides control behind a smile. You can see it in his tone, calm but cold. You can see it in Aurora's face, a polite smile. But eyes that are screaming, please stop. It's that unspoken tension you feel when someone you love tells you what you need, without ever bothering to ask what you want. And here's the saddest part. Robyn sits there quietly, like she's seen this movie before. Because she knows, deep down, this doctrine isn't about God or innocence. It's about Kody clinging to the one thing he feels he is losing: his influence. The fans saw it too. TikTok's reaction videos, breakdowns, they all picked up on the same vibe. This isn't about love anymore, it's about fear. Fear of irrelevance, fear of losing control, fear of watching everyone else move on without him. And that's what makes season 20 feel so different. It's not just drama anymore, it's an expose. Every episode is peeling back another layer of the image Kody spent decades building. Hours after the scene aired, clips of Kody's purity talk flooded TikTok, YouTube and X. One 20-second clip, third part, where he says, "Protect my daughter from yourself," hit over 1 million views in a single night, and the comments, they were savage. One fan wrote, "Kody talking about chastity is like a fox giving a lecture on chicken coop safety." Another said he's not protecting his daughter, he's protecting his ego. And that just said it all. This wasn't a father giving advice. This was a man trying to reclaim his moral high ground, after losing everything else: his wives, his family, and most of his public image. Reaction channels dissected it frame by frame. Creators broke down his tone, his posture, even the look on Robyn's face in the background. They pointed out how Robyn's smile never reached her eyes, how Kody avoided using the word trust, and how the whole conversation felt staged like a performance for the cameras. Not a heart-to-heart with his daughter. Reddit forums were even more brutal. Fans highlighted the irony of Kody's own history, completely contradicting the purity standard he was pushing. This is the same man who juggled emotional affairs with multiple wives, who blurred the lines of attraction and spiritual connection, and now, suddenly, he's the master of morality. The hypocrisy wasn't just obvious, it was insulting. And what made it go viral wasn't just the shock value. It was the conversation that followed. Fans weren't just mocking him, they were asking real questions. Why does Kody get to define what purity means? Why is control so often disguised as protection? And how many other people grew up hearing the same kind of talk from a figure just like him? That's why this moment did ONT just become a meme. It became a mirror for anyone who ever had their choices questioned in the name of morality. Here's where it gets really fascinating, because this dating doctrine moment isn't an accident. Every word, every rule he enforces, it's all part of a larger pattern that's been playing out since season 1. Kody has always seen himself as the leader, not just of a family, but of an ideology. He doesn't just want to be respected, he wants to be obeyed. And when that obedience starts to slip, he doesn't reflect, he doubles down. Think about it. Whenever one of his wives challenged him, he didn't listen. He rewrote the rules. Christine wanted emotional intimacy. Suddenly, loyalty meant silence. Mary wanted independence. Suddenly, independence was betrayal. Janelle spoke her truth. He called it disrespect. And now, when he feels like his family and the world has stopped listening, he's shifting his control to the next generation. He can't discipline his wives anymore, so he disciplines his children. That's why this moment feels less like a father's warning and more like a desperate sermon. For Kody, control is love. The loss of control is the loss of love. And that is the core of his entire downfall. Because real love, the kind he's never quite figured out, never demands control. Psychologists would call this reactive dominance. It's when a person who feels powerless tries to get that power back by overcompensating with rigid rules, manipulation, or guilt. And that's exactly what's happening in season 20. He's not the husband of 4 women anymore. He's a man desperately trying to prove he still matters, that his words still have weight, that his doctrine still runs the family. But here's the tragedy. The more he preaches, the more he proves he's lost the very thing that made him watchable in the first place. The goofy, open, awkwardly lovable dad has become a man driven by ego and paranoia, and fans see it in every single frame. He's not leading anyone anymore. He's just protecting his image. Now, Here's where the story takes a turn the emotional gut punch fans didn't see coming. Because, while Kody was busy preaching purity, his daughters were quietly rewriting the family's legacy in the background. Aurora and Brenna, the ones who grew up under the strictest version of Kody and Robyn's rules, are now questioning everything. They're finding their own voices, their own beliefs, and even their own faith communities. It's subtle, but if you've been paying attention this season, you can feel the quiet rebellion brewing. Aurora, once so timid in her father's shadow, is now confidently sharing posts about personal freedom and mental health. She's talking about love that is chosen, not dictated. And that, right there, is the one thing Kody can't control. It's poetic, isn't it? The more Kody tries to hold on to his daughter's purity, the more they escape his script. It's not a rebellion for rebellion's sake, it's evolution through truth. And that truth is simple. You can't lecture about ownership in a world that's discovering self-worth. You can't demand purity when your own history is stained with hypocrisy. Even Robyn, once Kody's staunchest defender, is the picture of conflict this season. Her eyes say what her words can't. That she's starting to see that control doesn't create unity, it breeds resentment. There's this one moment, blink and you'll miss it, where Robyn sits silently as Kody lectures. Her jaw tightens, her eyes drop, and it's like she's seeing her husband for who he has become. Not a protector, but a preacher, lost in his own sermon. This is where Sister Wives stops being about plural marriage and starts being about legacy. Because now, the children are the mirror, and what they're reflecting back at their parents isn't loyalty, it's freedom. And for Kody Brown, that is the most terrifying reality of all. And just when you think it's over, it's not. Because the final scene doesn't end peacefully, it ends in silence. The kind of silence that makes your chest tight, the kind that's louder than any words. It's Kody, alone in the confessional chair, half lit by the studio lights. No wives by his side. No laughter. No control. Just him staring into a camera that sees right through the facade he built. Starts to speak, slowly. I did what I thought was right. I just wanted to protect them. But even he doesn't sound convinced anymore. There's a crack in his voice, not anger, not even regret, but something else. Fear, because he knows the truth he has been avoiding all season. You couldn't protect people by controlling them. You can't demand purity when you've never lived by your own rules. The music fades in, quiet and unsettling. Cut to Aurora, standing outside under the faint glow of the porch light. She glances back